Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast birthed on a whim by two women who are excited about the cryptocurrency landscape and have a shared passion about empowering others to step into the digital, tokenized world of the future. We offer tips, tricks, and our own individual insights as to how to begin to navigate this shift. We are not financial advisors nor experts. We are just here to encourage you to look at the possibilities. So welcome to the future. You're right on time.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, just thinking about our intro. It's like, welcome to the future. You're right on time.
I know. And we are.
Future is here.
Future is here, but the train is leaving. No, I'm not going to say it's leaving. It's leaving the station. It's clicking along. There's no doubt about it.
No, you know, and it's the same thing. It's like you think about like all the different companies, governments, institutions all around the world building their blockchain technology, and it takes years, and then once it goes live, it's like that change happens in an instant.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we lived through it when, AOL began, the whole 9 yards, but once it finally catches, it's definitely here to stay. So exciting times, but unsettling at the same time. I mean, I think you have to be really mindful about what you lean into out there in terms of just news and everything else in general. So we try to say what's out there, but we also try to give a positive spin to things as well. But, we just have to navigate the breezes. Sorry, that was a nervous laugh. Navigate.
I know. It was funny. I saw a clip, Jim Cramer, that crazy stock market guy. And he was like bashing crypto. And it's always reminds me of like, is the bottom in? Is it time to like buy, and it's usually do the opposite of what these people say, because it's unbelievable the amount of like fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's like flooding the market right now. And I mean, who knows if we're going to go down lower, but at the same time, it's a lot. There's a lot going on. And at the end of the day, I always take a step back and I think about the timeline. 2.5 years ago, the government told us to stay home, right?
Yeah.
While the government told us to stay home, 5G was being implemented all throughout all the major cities, all across the world, right? Which is going to bring us the Internet of Things with smart devices. And then it's like we passed the CARES Act. We pumped the stock market with money. So the Fed printed the money. We do the trickle down theory. We put it all in the stock market. So the stock market went to like all-time highs during a period of time where the government told us to stay home. So basically no one was being productive. We weren't making things.
Nope, we weren't making things. Nobody was earning an income. Everybody was relying on their stimulus checks coming in. And then what were they doing with their stimulus checks? They were either putting it in the market or buying luxury items to many degrees, in some cases. And,
Yep. And what is that? Now look at us now. We're at, 8.5% inflation. And again, it's just like I always think about, like, the government will create they create the problem and then people react.
Yeah.
And then here we go. They have a solution. And what's that solution? The Fed Now app service coming to your mobile wallet.
Yep. And just as it's always, we always say this a number of times throughout the podcast, but we truly are here for your entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are our own best comedians 24/7. So just lean into the information that we share, and hopefully you can take nuggets of it to consider and, apply to your daily thought process, perhaps. So.
Yeah, definitely. And, and at the end of the day, right, I think we can all be in agreement. Like, cryptocurrency is a highly speculative market,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing deep dives, pulling research from companies' websites and trying to put together a story, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, right? So when I hear Lael Brainard speak, and everyone who's part of Two Women in Crypto, like, we know this, right? We went through our Fed class. So kind of cool that she came out during the Jackson Hole meeting, and she really talked about the Fed Now service for retailers, businesses all across the United States. You could download a digital wallet. They're looking to roll this plan out starting in May of 2023. And again, it's like instant payments and, same thing, like your paycheck, everything can flow through your FedNow app. Now, this isn't a central bank digital currency, right? This is not. So this is like an alternative. And I think the link I sent you, Kelly, is actually Lael Brainard speaking. So she kind of lays it out, and it's kind of like an alternative to the central bank digital currency. So I believe we'll use like the USDC through the FedNow payment app. But again, it's like we're seeing high inflation, massive layoffs. Americans are having a hard time paying their electric bills right now.
And winter hasn't even begun.
Right. So it's kind of like, is this the beginning of the door opening for universal basic income?
So, and then, we've talked a little bit about this, of course, over the many, many months, but this would look possibly like this FedNow app, right? They're going to say, here's, say, 1,000 USDC for you to utilize. Instead of doing a stimulus, they might do something like this to where here it is, it's accessible to you, but you have a certain amount of time to use it, or there's a lot of different thought processes around it. But like you said, this is not a CBDC.
Right. And I believe that this is a stepping stone. So It's kind of like at first they roll out a program and it's great for everybody. Like it always reminds me of like Robert Kiyosaki. Like he says, don't fight the Fed. If the Fed is giving you free money, you take it. Once there's mandates on that free money, you delete it. Just delete, you delete your app because, again, it's just like, I think it's going to be really, really important. And something that Kelly and I have put together is like a basic intro to crypto class that we're going to be teaching. I believe the date is September 17th. We're going to confirm the date. It'll be on our website. But I'm urging everybody, it is time to get educated because like we are moving forward into a digitized, tokenized economy. And if we don't have the knowledge and education, like I don't want people to get hurt and I don't want people to be left behind. And I also want us to band together collectively to one, stop retail CBDCs, and also too, it's just so important just to have this knowledge so we can make sure that we have digital rights. Human beings need digital rights, right, Kelly?
Right. And we really encourage you to share this podcast with others because we really know how difficult it is to lean into what we're saying. It's mind blowing, really. It's hard to really wrap your mind around. And if you don't lean in and listen to it on a consistent basis, then it's kind of just going to go float right by you. So share with your friends and family because the information really is important. I mean, those of you out there that know me and, I never thought I'd be out here saying, please lean in and listen to this, but what is it? 8% of the world's population is even really aware of what cryptocurrencies are. And I know this is a much broader conversation than that, but this is all right in front of us. We really need to be looking closely at it.
Yeah. And again, it's like, I've been listening to like Jerome Powell speak. He's the chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank. The Fed was one of my clients when I was a tech recruiter. And like one of the things that he says that really sticks with me is like, we're not in a recession, we're in a transition, and we're transitioning to a digital economy. So it's kind of like, just the more knowledge we have and the more we understand, the better that we can prepare.
Yep, the next 7 years will be quite a ride.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of bumpy, but, I'm feeling pretty good about everything. And again, it's just like, I believe that the United States people will not have a central bank digital currency. I could be totally wrong. Like all we do is guess. But, I kind of see like, big news came out yesterday, like right after the Fed Now service app was announced. It was like Ripple joins the Digital Dollar Foundation. Okay. Ripple joined the Digital Pound Foundation. Ripple joined the Digital Euro Foundation. They are all across the world, and governments, banks, institutions. And again, it's like, will they use XRP? We're speculating.
Right.
But something that I'm going to do, and, Kelly and I were talking about this during the week, is like, I'm going to put together like Ripple's, like an XRP's ecosystem and focus specifically on XRP, because we know XRP is being used with SBI Holdings, which is like a huge, huge asset management company in Japan. Like they're being used for their treasury, for the FOMO payment service. Right. Okay. In Asia, we know that they pretty much bought out Tranglo for cross-border payments. They're the largest provider of liquidity on the Bitso exchange in South America. So again, right, it's like, we don't know for sure, but for the Fed Now app, the way I look at it, it's a stepping stone to kind of move towards using cryptocurrency digital assets. Right. Okay, because if only 8% of Americans know about cryptocurrency in the digital economy, I think the Fed Now app is a really good way to introduce the USDC as a stepping stone. And then the Federal Reserve Bank will announce the central bank digital currency, but we can use I think the bank should use it for cross-border payments when they do business with all the other banks and institutions all around the world. Why not?
Right.
It's immediate. It's cheap. It's scalable. Like it's like boom, that you settle it within seconds. That's when I believe XRP can be used either as on-demand liquidity or that bridge.
Right. Yep. And it's like you said, it's like when the tides turn, that's when you delete your app. But until then.
Right. Exactly. And it's interesting too. So it's kind of like, the United States Digital what's the word I'm looking for? Digital Dollar Foundation. If everybody goes to that website, and I just was kind of playing around this morning, but their partners is more than Ripple. It's EMTEC, EMTC. And then it's another company called Digital Asset. Okay, EMTEC is basically HBAR.
Oh, okay.
And Digital Asset is ETH, which was started by a woman who worked at JP Morgan for, I believe, about 27 years. And it's the same thing too. Like eventually, like I see all these companies being winners, and all of their systems are going to interoperate. They're going to connect, and we're not there yet. So this isn't going to happen tomorrow. Like we don't have to get crazy about a CBDC. I mean, the Fed Now app is going live, May, June, July, right? That time frame of 20. Yep. Exactly. So we have some time to sit with this and figure it out. And again, if we can just make sure that the Federal Reserve Bank doesn't give United States citizens the money, it has to go through like our banking system, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever it may be. There's got to be that extra layer to protect us, right? Because if inflation is going super high and we have to, go to negative interest rates, then the Fed will have direct access to our wallet and just pull out that 2%, like what you were saying.
Yep.
But they won't do it at first, right, Kel? Because otherwise people won't download the app.
Right. No, they've got to be dangling the carrot for a while. And those subsequent changes will just be evolution through the process as they continue to kind of funnel you down, the road as to where they want you to go. So that's just how it works. I mean, we're not speaking untruths. We know how the systems are designed.
Right. Yeah. I think about like with the internet and how slowly it progressed, and then like look at where we are today.
Right.
No one was gonna like get a smartphone. No one was gonna put their credit card on the internet, and it's just like it slowly just becomes part of our daily lives without people really talking about it. So
well, it's so interesting because I feel in a way that I'm kind of going backwards, where I'm beginning to just carry cash, and I have another friend who does the same thing, and I'm just paying cash for everything. And everywhere I go, everybody's using their watch to pay or their phone to pay, and I'm on the complete other end of the spectrum. So I feel like I'm going backwards, but I feel it's actually very refreshing to pull out a $20 bill when I'm paying for something or what have you, or $100 when I'm buying groceries.
Definitely. And I always try to pay cash, especially when I go to restaurants, right? Because when we use our cards, there's a fee to the merchant.
There's a fee to the merchant, absolutely.
One of my favorite restaurants here in town is giving like a 3% discount off your bill if you pay in cash.
Right.
So,
great.
It's really good.
That.
Yeah, me too. So I think that's a really good thing. But okay, so if anybody wants to check out the Digital Dollar Foundation, the new initiative is called the Technical Sandbox Program, and it will be launched in October, and the focus is going to be on cross-border payments. So this is really where, XRP can thrive. So we're going to see, it could be Ethereum, it could be HBAR, but at the end of the day, I do believe they're all winners. Like total speculation, but the world is a really, really big place. And, I just think too, like with all the different, partnerships, and Ripple's been partnered with the Federal Reserve since 2015. They've been partnered with Volante Technologies as well. So like, we're going to put that link. And I know I've talked about Volante, like 2-3 times already?
Yeah, a number of times for sure.
So I'm going to just read right off my notes so I don't get this wrong. But like, we have to understand how this works, right? So when I think about Volante going live with their accelerator bank integration payment app, which was built on RippleNet. Okay, so it's called VolPay, and VolPay Hub will use XRP for cross-border payments, treasuries, payment platforms. They're partnered with 125 banks, financial institutions, market infrastructures, clearinghouses, corporate treasuries in 35 countries. They process trillions of dollars in value every day, powering 4 out of 5 largest corporate banks. Okay. And 70% of all worldwide card transactions are done with Volante Technologies. So we could see both systems running parallel, and they slowly start to integrate their VolPay and make sure that, again, it's got to get scalable and all of these things have to happen, but it's a stepping stone of going live. And it's very, very exciting.
It is exciting. I mean, again, yeah. Work to enter, it's like really having the foresight that you're providing for everybody here that's tuning in, opportunities to lean in and look at where you can do some investing at the very, very beginning of some things. It's pretty exciting. Like you say, I'm like, woohoo, rubbing my hands going, ah.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like, I can always, like, because I've been studying this for so many years now, so I can kind of see and envision like how, all of these systems are going to connect to just create like this frictionless, like internet of value. And it's like, it's so mind blowing, but at the same time, it's like, we have time,
Well, I'm just going to use this as a segue real quick because really, you mentioned that you have been studying this for years, right? And you've been in, doing the deep dives for a long, long, long time, but you just recently became a certified DeFi expert. Is that correct?
That's
yeah.
true.
So
sounds so super fancy, but it's kind of mind blowing, right, Kel? Because like I'm in this class and I'm going through and I'm like, I can, we are building a whole new financial system,
right?
Savings, loans, insurance. Like, I mean, just for me, like what I got out of that, it was like everyone who owns cryptocurrency, so whatever winners there are, I believe like in the near future, probably like 3 to 5 years, we're going to all have our coins staked on the blockchain, making passive income, right? Which is a non-taxable event by staking our coins. And that's going to be like how a lot of people are going to make their income, which is really, really cool. It's one of the benefits for being in crypto really early, whether that's Cardano, Polkadot, and just like the automation of the stock market, just everything, the tokenization
Of everything.
It's
everything.
It's everything.
Yeah. I'm super excited. I'm going to be diving into that same certification. But in the meantime, I think it's really, again, this is why we're here is this is an opportunity to create that generational wealth.
Yeah.
And to really understand what's happening. So I know that was a deep dive, and I know that so much about it you already have been studying over the years, but I myself am excited to get even a greater grasp of it.
Yeah. And it's still, the class makes your mind kind of.
Sure. Yeah.
It's really, whew. But I'll give everybody a tip that I learned from the class. Not financial advice.
None of it is.
So, with Ethereum, right, we have, I've talked about the engine platform to be like kind of like the platform for like all the different types of games, and even like, for some of the metaverses. And it was part of the class. And it's kind of like, I think I did a podcast like probably in the beginning where I broke out some of Polkadot's parachains, and Infinity was one of them that's connecting with Ethereum, and it's all done around Engine Coin, ENJ. Not financial advice, but I think Engine's got a really, really bright future. Definitely, like, I was kind of happy about that,
right.
just and again, it's like when we talk about interoperability, like Polkadot's going to connect to Ethereum, which will connect to Cosmos, which will connect to XRP. I know XRP Ledger's connecting with Avalanche, right? Through all these different, side chains and bridges. And I think like 2023 is the year of building these bridges.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. And full disclosure, Andrea and I have a lot of these tokens we hold as ourselves. So, it's not like we're playing favorites or anything of that nature, but we are being, transparent in our conversations. But I think it's what you spoke to earlier about some of the new way of how people are going to earn income will be by staking these coins and the back ends of these things. So all of this is really, really important because as the economy is shifting, everything is becoming digital. How are people going to earn their money? I mean, these are big considerations down the road. So this is all, we want to be able to utilize anything and everything we can that's accessible for us.
Yeah. And again, like, being in that class and just really like grasping to a different level, the amount of middlemen, those third party intermediaries, they're going to lose their jobs because they're all going to be replaced by a smart contract, which is automated. It's all automated and stored on the blockchain. So if Kelly and I sell, if we buy a house together or something like that, we're not going to have to go through a broker. We're not going to have to pay fees for deeds, licensing, titles, appraisals. All of it is going to be done through automation. So again, like if anyone has these types of jobs, like, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, 40 to 70% of all people need to get re-educated. So I'm encouraging everyone, like, just like what I'm doing and what Kelly's doing, we are re-educating ourselves into the new digital economy.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
we're here to bridge people, Yep. And it doesn't mean to go all in on one token,
Right. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it is risky, but it's all about being patient and not entering into something and then being embraced by fear. You really have to be patient in this market, especially during this very transitionary time. So
and like, watching like Gary Gensler and like all these different things, like there's been so much heat coming out about Gary Gensler. And I think again, like, Brian Brooks, he used to be the comptroller of the OCC. And it's just like, okay, so he was saying the SEC's job is to regulate, not to regulate by enforcement. And it's, so I just, throughout this whole transition, it's really important to keep people in our government accountable. And again, like, I feel like our Fourth Amendment gives us the right to privacy, and I think that the SEC is supposed to be there to protect us. If we don't have these digital rights and they can just make up new rules as they go along, we're in trouble, whether these programs work for us or not. A really good example is the student loan debacle that's going on, right? Was the student loan forgiveness program passed in Congress?
Not at this stage.
The paperwork is already out, my wife still has like a student loan, and it's just like, I can apply for this starting in October. Now, what happens if this was a big political ploy to get everybody to vote the Democrats back in, and then all of a sudden it turns around, it's like, oh, we're not going to forgive your loans because it was unconstitutional.
I think there's a lot of drama in the threads behind that one. Yeah.
So much drama, but I do believe in the rule of law. And if we don't have rule of law, like, we can't just go into a store and steal shit, right? Like, there has to be some sort of rule of law, So again, I believe I want everyone's debt to get paid off. That's my personal opinion. I believe the government just gives all the money to all the big time corporations. So anything that's going to help a person, like, our system is breaking anyway. So let's get rid of all of our debt. But at the same time, I believe in the Constitution and the rule of law. So we have to follow these procedures, because otherwise they're just going to keep changing the rules. And the further we move away from the Constitution, I think we'll have more, of these ESG social credit scores, which I think is worse than what we have now.
Right.
I mean, that's my personal opinion. Again, like I want what's best for everybody, but we'll see. We're at war, right? I mean, Texas and Florida, you were telling me last night, with the ESG score.
Yeah, right. I can't, honestly, I can't remember what I was telling you last night.
Kelly works 24 hours a day. It's fine.
I was a little bit of a fog last night, so I apologize. What did I say?
Yeah. So Florida and Texas are not, they're voting against this carbon neutral, based economy. And again, it's like, it's not that, I think we all want a clean economy. We all want a good climate. But the way that these programs are set up is for stakeholder capitalism, inclusive capitalism, where the stakeholder makes money off of buying these carbon credits.
Right. Well, and we were joking last night. I said, Texas is a big ass state. I think it takes you 3 days to cross it. So there's plenty of land. Anyway. Yeah.
No, I know. And like Florida, not so much, right? You just go 2 hours. Yeah. But again, it's something to think about. And I think a lot of states are going to follow. And, it's the same thing with like Biden shutting down the Keystone Pipeline. We need transition. We can't just, if we abruptly stop something, who suffers? The lower income people, the middle class, right? Because people who make a ton of money, they have no problem paying 5 times the electric bill per month, the higher food prices, the higher gas prices, so we needed to have some sort of transition period. And when they don't do that, that makes me think that they don't care about the people.
Well, no, it's the bottom line for them. I mean, that's what drives their initiatives and their business and things of that nature. So it's one of those things. And, it's kind of, I always kind of lean back towards movies and whatever's happening on television, because they're telling you a vision. They're already giving you the answers, and, going to the Game of Thrones and winter is coming, and, myself, and really seeing myself in the ice, like in the snow for about 6 months now, and really being called to that. And I think that's very foretelling about what we're going into.
Yep. Kelly and I encourage everybody, just have a backup heating source, if you live someplace cold. But what was really funny too, like just to get back to like the Ripple SEC lawsuit case. Okay. So Ripple was chosen to be a part of this sandbox project, this initiative, with the Federal Reserve Bank for the Digital Dollar Foundation project. But yet they're being sued by the SEC selling an unregistered security. Yeah. So is Ripple bad?
Or is kind of scratch your chin and go,
I just come on,
Well, and you have seen that vision and held it ever since I met you. I mean, it's just like you see it. XRP is going to be one of the main pieces in this new infrastructure.
Yeah, and they already are, it's like, if we think about just with those couple of companies that I have mentioned, it will be used, and so will Stellar, and so will Algorand and HBAR, and and I think we don't talk about quant a lot, but I think quant's going to bring a lot of this interoperability with the payment systems. And, maybe we could do a deep dive on that in a couple of weeks as well. But again, it's just I always tell people to never listen to what these people say, especially now, because there's so much fear. We just want to follow the money. I kind of wanted to jump in a little bit because last week we talked about the energy web with the energy web token.
Right.
So I was doing a deep dive on ESG, and then I was, then kind of looking up Energy Web's website. And Energy Web, they have they're working on 50 different projects. They're in 25 countries. 100+ partnerships. And wouldn't you know that they're partnered with Germany Federal Agency, the Energy Agency. And right?
Curious.
So
Right.
the energy web token is used to show proof for carbon, those carbon credits that we need with the energy, with the corporations, right? So the corporations are going to buy the energy web token, to offset the cost of the electricity. So Germany, who has a huge energy crisis, has been partnered with this company for a while now. And it's like, it's total speculation, but it's like problem, reaction, solution, it's like, we'll see how this plays out, like during the winter, but definitely kind of eye-opening.
Oh, it absolutely. When you share that with me, it's kind of because we're not doing the deep dive, so that makes me really want to lean in more and more to understanding that project. And just as a side note from the acquiring the coin, if anybody's interested, and it's always about you doing your own research.
Yeah.
There's only a few exchanges and places that you can get that coin at the current time, and that would be Kraken or Qcoin, really. I mean, there's other smaller exchanges, but those are the two. So just as an FYI, but lean in to whatever feels right for you. But that, I find that really curious that would be happening in the back end. And of course, it's, not common knowledge unless you're really doing the deep dives.
Yeah. And like, I was like, and it's all there, like right on Energy Web's website, like they're partnered with Volkswagen and they're partnered with, I think it was Google. So it was Google or Amazon, I think Google. So yeah, I think it was Google. But it's just kind of like, whether we buy these tokens or not, it's like, my whole idea is like to create like a picture.
Right.
Of how they're going to roll out this economy, because we're not going back to the old economy. We're moving into a new economy that's leveraged on technology. And even if it doesn't start on the blockchain, everything is going to move to the blockchain, because this has to do with the algorithms, the machine learning capabilities to increase artificial intelligence, right? This is what this is all about. So they will use the blockchain, in my opinion. Okay.
Oh, it's the data revolution, as we speak of, and it is all about the algorithms.
Yep. And we're going to be doing another class. It's kind of like a part 2 of the intro to crypto class. And it's all going to be about Web 3.0. And it's all about like the evolution of the internet, right, Kel? Like when the internet came out, we could like read documents and we could email each other.
Right.
And then once the developers got really super smart, right, and they created new languages like Java, JavaScript, HTML, now we could read and write content. And it kind of brought us to Facebook, YouTube, right? All of these different things that have been kind of collecting our data. And now we're moving into Web 3.0. That's really going to give us an immersive experience of all of, of virtual and augmented reality, right? Yep. So, again, taking automation, like I listened to hours of like Mark Zuckerberg being interviewed, and it's like he believes like the metaverse is the new frontier for social connection, social interaction. So again, it's like he invested billions and billions of dollars into Meta to create this metaverse, this augmented virtual reality. And I see the children, they're already doing it. So we really need to be educated. And again, it goes back to having digital rights. What is happening to our data?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a mind-blowing thought, really, when you really look at it. And it's just no different than when our parents, I've been around a little bit longer than a lot of people that are listening, perhaps, but they had no idea what was happening, right? I mean, I really feel we have an opportunity to be on the front edge of this. by really, I mean, it's exciting, but you want to be able to have the options of where do you want to participate and where do you want, where do you not? If I can participate over here because I have to, but I can still exist over here to some degree.
Well, yeah. And I think it's just, again, it's like whether we want this technology or not, like it's here and it's only going to get better. Like so many people will be like, well, there's so many bots on all these different websites or in the metaverse. Well, we're in an immature ecosystem, right? But as we grow, it's just going to get better and better. And to kind of just sit with that and to understand it's so important to have digital rights. We have the right to privacy, because what happens, if any government rolls out their CBDC and they have complete control over your app and you speak out about your nation state, do they have a right to freeze your funds? And that's a huge, huge concern. Or do these companies like Facebook and Amazon and Google, do they have the right to collect your data so they can design their systems, right, to give you these algorithms to kind of create, like a behavioral modification within you? Like this is how
absolutely.
Yeah,
it's happening. I mean, it's happening now, whether people recognize it or not. It's very, very clear.
Definitely. A great example is Facebook, right? I mean, we saw so much hatred during, and just people arguing and, like it's kind of like destroyed like the social fabric. It did the opposite, right? Facebook is supposed to be a social media platform, but this was kind of weaponized, So again, I'm all for all this technology, but we have to keep a decentralized private identity, or I don't want to participate. And I really do want to participate because it's so much fun. It's so exciting. And even to think about like the future of going to the metaverse, to wear regular glasses like Kelly's wearing and just have one little button like the size of a tiny screw, and you touch it and you can have coffee with your friends in England.
Right. Or you could be walking around a local, town or whatever, and you'll see advertisements of, going to the boutique over there and you're going to be able to get 50% off of their, already on sale rack. Or, I mean, there's all these things that are really right in front of us,
Right.
So if you're not, I mean, if you're listening and you're an entrepreneur, it's a really exciting time, because you think of, wow, there's all these opportunities here, the untouched markets, and there's so many things that are happening out there that are just mind-blowing.
Right. It's such a good point to like bring up, because whether you're a small business owner, you're a real estate broker, like whatever it may be, we are in the beginning stages, right, of this whole new world.
We are.
Yeah. So it's like
that to me is super. I mean, it's all exciting to me. I mean, I look at it as like, wow, yeah, there's going to be some bumps, but there's so many. I mean, let's be creative here. Let's create our own landscapes. How is it going to work for us? What are we going to allow in? What can I do for myself that will create that income? And how am I going to reinvent myself is what it's all about.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, for me, like, it's so much fun to keep doing that over and over and over again.
Oh, I know. Because if we're 6 feet under and I'm not ready, thank you very much. Let's keep going. Let's create some more. I want more of this or less of this. However it's going to go, right? It's all right.
Yep. So like marketing, like anything that you're in, just like, there's so much education out there. Like there's so much knowledge. And again, I think we need a really good basic foundation. And whether that's trying to learn about crypto and the blockchain, if it takes 3, 4, 5 times to listen to, our podcast or join our classes, come to the Q&As, keep asking the questions, because eventually you get it. You know what I mean? And then and again, it's like to kind of reinvent yourself, to reinvent your career, I think is so, so exciting. And you're so early that like you're ahead of the game. Like I went out to breakfast last week and I met this realtor who's interested in me coming to speak to him about the tokenization of real estate.
Right.
And he's like, we know nothing about it, but they're so excited to learn. You know what I mean? And it's so exciting because people, like, we're all going to be able to invest in that $10 million apartment building across the street from the ocean with just $1,000, right? So it's coming, it's here. It's just very early. So we need to do the deep dives. These are the best companies. Let's research them and have some fun with it. I mean, they're talking about like paying out like every day or every couple of days. It's like the money just hits our account. You know, passive income is where it's at for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's exciting. Exciting stuff.
So the other thing I wanted to mention, just to go back to the Jackson Hole meeting, okay? Jerome Powell did say he is forcefully going to slow down the economy. We want to keep an eye on this because forcefully slowing down the economy means high layoffs, massive layoffs, I think are going to be coming. So again, you know, another reason to get educated on the future of work, the future of finance, you know, because as one system falls, a new system arises. It's the same thing with the internet. During that, when people's jobs were getting automated and all these things were happening, everyone who moved into IT and you know, the information age did really, really well. So I'm just encouraging people, you know, like toe that line, toe that comfort zone. If you have any questions, like just reach out to us, you know, at any time, just ask us a question. Like we're doing this to help everybody, like, you know, move forward, right? To be successful with, you know, how can we help you make all your dreams come true, right? And again, it's just like, you know, whether
absolutely, and if we don't know the answer, and believe me, we don't know all the answers, but we'll lean in to at least try to uncover what we can find out to give you some framework. And that's what our Q&As are all about. We have a monthly Q&A. We would encourage you to check out our calendar. You'll see when the next one is. It's the end of September. So yeah, it's really, because a lot of folks that come to our Q&A, they really bring up some really interesting questions that are crossing my mind. So
yeah, definitely. And I think like, so if everybody wants to put this on their calendar, September 21st, I'm almost 100% sure. I think that's when they're going to announce the next Fed hike. So it's going to be like half a point or 3/4 of a point. This is definitely something we want to keep an eye on because Jerome Powell is saying he wants to keep increasing interest rates all throughout 2023. And there was a lot of economists that were saying there's no way the Fed can do that. So if the Fed continuously does this, we're probably looking at about a 50% market correction, which means that crypto could even go lower, like much lower than the stock market. But again, what a great time to dollar cost average, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just not be anchored in on the fear of that. We're going to ride the wave. We'll all come out of it. It's just going to take some time.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, everybody at some point who bought in high before, you know, 2 cycles ago with the Bitcoin bull run, you know, like at some point during the last bull run, every single person was in profit. So on the next bull run, there will come a time where every single person is in profit. So we need patience and we need more time in the market while these systems scale and interoperate. They have to connect for mass adoption to occur. And we're probably at least 3 to 5 years away, I think, for all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's why we always say, you know, you're right on time. And you're right on time. Yeah, the train's clicking along, but we all have an opportunity here to lean into it.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been a great show. So let's wrap things up. And I guess, do you have anything else to say? Any closing remarks?
Any closing remarks? Only that we should just keep on. You know, I guess before we even say our actual tagline, we have many. I hope everybody can lean into the holiday weekend get outside here in the United States. And I know we have listeners all over the world, but here in the United States, we have Monday off. It's our Labor Day weekend. But I'm hoping everybody gets outside, takes a break from technology, let the sun kiss their skin or let the wind brush their cheeks and really kind of rejuvenate their soul and their energetic bodies, because that's important today. It's important every day.
Well said. I love that. I love that. Well, thank you, Kelly, for all your wisdom. And until next week,
hodl on.
Hodl on.
Your hosts for Two Women in Crypto are Andrea Caldero and Kelly Lair. You'll find more information and details regarding the Two Women in Crypto membership, educational and informative class and event offerings, and more via their website, twowomeninCrypto.com. Both Andrea and Kelly are available for speaking events and offer private consultations focused on helping individuals navigate the future. Until next time, hodl on.